Alright guys, so welcome back to part 2. Welcome to my channel, PPL Stop PPL Scam. And in this part we're gonna continue exposing these crooks at Ukraine.com. So as you know, the owner of this agency says that he named his agency like this because of Ukraine, the country, and Rain, which is Queen in French. So he uses this as an excuse to call it Ukraine.com, but it's not actually a good name, as you're basically condemning a whole nation with your scams, with your lies, and your blatant omissions. So that's why we're not gonna call it Ukraine. It's Ukraine.com. So let's move on and let's continue with our presentation here. So I'll show you how their shady business model works, how they will scam you, and how they draw customers into their platform. So this is a fake scam victim called Anthony, and supposedly was scammed by this hot Russian model who's actually a nude model in Russia, and she's traveling all over the world taking photo shoots nude in bikini and everything. So it's strange that this guy wasn't able to get her direct contact info and not basically look her up on Google and find all her material, her nude material and everything. So here we see that the scam agency or the YouTube channel shows us more than 300,000 views, which is a lot. This was launched in 2019. And that's how they got really popular in YouTube. Sorry about that. So we see that it has more than 4,000 likes, and of course this story is an exaggeration, along with the total amount stolen, being 10 months in on this scam. They're spending. I think this guy bought her 2 iPhones, lots of stuff there. So it's not credible, it's fake. Even the hotel where he's telling his story is known for being used for television and interviews and everything. So it was staged. The guy knows this. He held an interview with another marriage agency, to top it off. Still getting interviews from other marriage agencies. So this guy tells the interviewers that he got his money back or part of it, I don't know, but total farce. This guy is not credible in his testimony. Many things he says are true, but it's truth mixed with lies and basically a strategy by this agency Ukraine.com. So they funnel these viewers to their YouTube channel after viewing this viral video, and they come to find that there's actually a channel about dating Ukrainian girls, which in the end it's taking you to use their website. You just want to draw you in And as you can see, there's many interesting topics. Man's income, friendship between a man and a woman, migration to Canada, suffering in relationships, and of course sex on the first date. What better topic to draw attention than talking about sex? So as you can see from all these videos, the one with most views is this one, 607 views. So that's how they do it. You'll see these amazing videos that show you how great Ukraine is, how great its women are, and they will convince you to try their website. So PPL scam, as you can see, my channel here is called Stop PPL Scam, which is basically the scheme that marriage agencies, dating sites in the Ukraine use to get your money. So paying per one letter, paying per one message, video call. Everything is one at a time. So in this case, this agency charges you when you send a letter to a lady, and doesn't charge you when the lady responds, but it's all part of the scheme. I mean, even if they don't, and some other websites do, it's the same thing because they're overcharging you in the first place. So you'll be giving free credits once you sign up, enough to send like 2 or 3 letters to these women, and you'll even get more credits for free if you upload your photos, fill in your profile. So they tell you that you're talking or corresponding with a real Ukrainian woman, but it's mostly the translators doing all the work and making you believe you're corresponding with this beautiful, young, hot thing in Ukraine. So very, very crooked, very evil, and they even incentivize you to share your pictures with the woman, which is also an additional credit, or 2 credits, I don't know, I don't remember actually. And also the woman or the translator in charge of her profile will spam you with pre-written letters. So in this case, they use spamming practices. When you send a letter, you may send her a very heartfelt reply and everything, and just to find out that there are no replies. I mean, there's no answer to your questions. You wanted to get to know her better and this and that, but when you open this stupid letter, it's just a story about her freaking weekend or something like that, or a place she visited. So that's called spamming, and they shouldn't charge for letters, sending letters, if you're getting that mediocre service. I mean, I've used Latadate, other scam services as well, PPL services, and at least even if it's a paragraph, they try to respond in at least one sentence. Maybe you want a big paragraph with the response of your question, but all you get is one sentence. But in this case, they will not even respond in some of their replies. So it's a very bad service. There's a high cost to messaging, so I don't know I think they changed the prices right now. I was checking and they reduced the prices, but it was still like I think it was like $11 or $12 for a single letter that I would send. And if I wanted to add additional pictures, it would be charged as well as an additional credit or something like that. So paper Skype scam, video call, no different dynamic than paying for a prostitute or call girl. So that's basically what it is. You pay from 50 euros to 75 per minute for 30 minutes, and it depends. This price varies. I've seen they throw offers from time to time, but as you can see, the price is very high just for 30 minutes, or you're not even able to exchange your contacts. The woman is connected from your agency to her Skype account somehow. So that's what I discovered on the second call. I thought that the woman was in the agency at the time, but what I discovered is that they would connect the call to her individual account, her user, and so she was speaking from her home, and this is the bad side to it, that the woman will not provide you with her contact details during the calls. So right off the bat, I asked if I could ask for her phone number while on the first Skype call with her, but she just eluded the question and basically told me to ask the agency, because she was not gonna tell me anything. So even though she complimented me during the call, even though that she seemed to be happy or like enthusiastic in this first call, she wasn't willing to give me her phone number or anything that would compromise her, let's say, stay on the agency, or her being on the agency as a mail-order bride, right? So I was confused. I have to admit that I was confused when she told me this. I thought that we could, after exchanging several emails through their site, I was gonna be able to get her contact info or something, but she just sent me over to the agency guy, so I could pay thousands of dollars just for her lame phone number. So that's how they do it. And in the end, the woman herself will tell you that the time is over and you should call her some other time or continue your communication through the website via correspondence. So she will tell you, oh, it's already 31 minutes, I have to go. And even if the conversation is going well, or you think it is, the women will just cut you off. It's not even the guys at the agency. So it's pretty obvious that the whole thing is an act. She's acting throughout the 30-minute call. She's not genuinely interested. Otherwise, she would just be cut off from you. The agency guys, the women at the agency would just drop her call, and you would be told to buy another 30 minutes or something like that. So in this case, the woman's acting in favor of the agency's interests, not yours. So that's a very big red flag right there, and I just didn't want to admit it, or I was just confused at the time. That's the truth of it. So next up is fake gift delivery. So there you can see the woman who scammed me taking a big, bouquet of roses just for her. Now that's more than 50 flowers, I think, on that bouquet, and she's receiving those for Christmas, I guess, from another man. She sent it through one of her replies, but she didn't tell me why she had those roses or anything like that. I mean, it's pretty obvious that one of the other men in the agency sent her those, and not herself or a family member giving it to her. So there you have it. That's pretty much what these women there are all about. Gifts, money, everything. So buying a matchmaking package, that's where they cook you. When they have you and you're convinced that the lady is interested in you or wants to meet you, then they come with the big guns and they want you to buy an all-inclusive package, or an invite a woman package, or a limited contacts for 6 months. I think the one I bought was the basic. It's not shown here, but as you can see, it's temporarily unavailable because they're not able to provide you with access to these women, as they went all over Europe and other countries. They're not in Ukraine. Nobody can travel to Ukraine, so it's useless. So next up, our prices and free options. So as you can see, it details what they give you once you open a profile here or sign up, and it says that supposedly all incoming messages are free. Translating each round-trip message will cost you 6 credits. So in the following slides here, I'll show you that this is just bullshit. There's no cost for translating a letter to a woman, and more so if the woman herself speaks English. So as the case with this woman I showed you here, she knows English very well. So this cost is pure BS. So let's move on. Red flags on how to spot the scammers in general. So here you see this girl, and you're enticed by her looks. Young hot thing, you think, and you see her on the YouTube channel, and you say, oh wow, she's single, she's still single, I can get a shot at her. And she's there on the website, on the marriage agency, and it's not so hard. I mean, I can just pay some letters, a couple letters, and get to meet her. So that's how they scam you. They put you in the position of being vulnerable with all these lies that they feed you, and these are the types of pictures this woman sends, or the agency sends for her. This is an actual picture from brideforever.com. It has no Photoshop or anything. It hasn't been doctored to basically tarnish her image because she's a scammer. Unlike what she wants you to believe, as opposed to that, I mean, she has a video on the YouTube channel UkraineN.com, I think is the name, and there she has an investigation. Supposedly she gets deep into the PPL scams and everything, but they don't mention PPL scam. They mention scam agencies and things like that, and she calls the agencies. She records everything. She's being recorded on video on all her findings about how their business works, how the other marriage agencies work, and how they get all these beautiful women on their databases. So basically they offer them photo shoots, they offer them that they'll get gifts from foreigners, and that these guys won't even travel to meet them because it's very difficult that something like this can work. But there are many men that are willing to travel, even though it's not the majority. And as you can see, it's the same picture for the same time of the year when she took this picture, and this other one here, it's not from different years. None of that bullshit that Berezniakov says. This woman is collaborating with these men, with these scammers, providing material, photographs, and everything that they need to get convinced that it's this lady on the other side. So that's what they do, and that's how they also convince me through Ukraine.com. But she is complicit. She's in cahoots with these other marriage agencies as well. This woman is not exclusive to Ukraine.com, and there's this proof. You can log into Bride Forever. If you don't have an account, you just set it up and try to look for her. You search for women in Kharkiv, and there you'll see her. So these are not old pictures, these are recent pictures, and these are after she even opened her profile on Ukraine.com. So it's bullshit that she's not in cahoots with these other agencies. She gets money from them, she gets gifts. Maybe that bouquet of flowers was also from Bride Forever or one of these other agencies, and not specifically Ukraine.com. So as you can see, these marriage agencies, or this one in specific, has no interest in getting these women a husband. And why are they gonna lose a woman from their database if they can have them indefinitely on the site and keep milking the cow? They keep the man, feeding the meter and not getting them a wife ever. So most of these women already have a partner or husband in their respective cities. They have local boyfriends, and of course they're in cahoots with the agency to provide material to pretend that they're available, single and ready to mingle. That's the bullshit mantra that they may use on you. So these are just bait women. They want to exploit their profiles, and they want to do it to the last cent. Until the girl is already getting married to her local boyfriend, or until maybe she's too old, like 35 plus, to be considered like a milking cow. So what they want to promote is the real mail order brides, which are the following. So of course this is a joke, it's just a meme, but you're probably gonna find something similar to this when they tell you that they have, when Ukraine.com tells you that they have a real single mail order bride for you. She's gonna be either too old, too ugly, too fat, and it's not worth all the hassle and all the high costs that they have for you. So these are the scammers. This guy in the center, as I've exposed him in previous videos, is the brains of it all. Dimitry Berezniakov, and I don't know all these independently. I think this one is Ekaterina as well. There's like 3 Ekaterinas in that same agency, as revealed by the mail order bride that I was corresponding with. So there you have him. Who would know, huh? So Ukraine expert Kyle and his take on these marriage agencies and Loveme Documentary.
For example, and it's going to go a hell of a lot farther. So this guy left a comment on my site saying that he wanted to basically get out of his corporate job, like, you know, most people do, and how he wanted to leave the West, again, like most people do, and how he wanted to use that new money to go on a foreign affair or love tours trips. So for those of you who don't know what those are, these are like a foreign affair, and I think that's the actual site, if you could Google it. It's like a dating agency, and they do events in all countries. So that means that, you know, you're an old guy living in Texas, and you have some money, and you are tired of dating in the West, and you want to move abroad. You don't want to move abroad, you want to find a foreign bride. It's kind of like, you know, the mail order bride business, but you're not actually just shipping a bride straight over without ever meeting her, because that's really extreme. But in any case, what happens is you go onto this site, and you pay a certain amount to join, I'm pretty sure. And then you can message girls, but of course they put all these, you know, paywalls in place. Like, oh, to send this email, we need to translate it to her native language, so it'll cost you $10 to send this email because, you know, we have to go and translate it, which is a load of crap, because there's this crazy company, I know you've probably never heard of them, but they've actually built an app where you can copy and paste in your native tongue, and it will come out on the other side in a different language. It's this crazy company called Google, and they built this app called Google Translate, which, I know, mind-blowing, 2017, we actually have an app that can translate word for word. Yet, you know, how much does it really cost to send an email? Like, you know, obviously it uses part of the internet, and there's like a cost for everything that you do in life, but it does not cost $10 to translate a paragraph and mail it to some girl. Let's put it that way. You can get on Tinder, you can get on any dating site, you can go to translate.google.com, and you can do exactly what they're doing completely free of charge. And disclaimer, I'm not exactly sure if they've now stopped doing that these days. I'm basing this off of a movie that came out in 2014. It's called Loveme, the documentary, and it's basically detailing 6 guys who go to Ukraine and their girls that they meet while in Ukraine, and kind of how they all get along, and basically how to make sense of it all. And so there's another show too, I think it's called The 90-Day Fiancé, which is kind of based on a similar premise from what I've heard. I've never actually seen it. I might have to check out the episode, but maybe now some of these sites, and again, the site I'm talking about is like a foreign affair, maybe they've now updated this to reduce the charges, because with a competitor, you know, not even a competitor, but a tool like Google Translate out there, and so many other translation apps that are now available, they really shouldn't be doing that. And, you know, let's put it this way, if you're a guy and you're going to go pay $10 to email a girl and have someone translate it, that's just stupid. don't do that. But in any case, that's just one part of the business. So the main premise behind it is something they call a, quote, love tour, which means that you get on a plane with, however many other dudes they book out, and you each pay like $10,000 or $12,000. Maybe it's a little less. I think in the movie Love Me, that's what they were saying, 12,000. And you get on the plane, you go across the sea, and you go to these social events. And these social events are, you basically are put into a nightclub in the middle of the day with like 200 women and there's 20 guys. So it's like a 10-to-1 ratio. It's the exact opposite of going out on your normal kind of like nighttime experience. And these girls are, for the most part, like there to meet a guy, or at least that's what Love Me would lead people to believe. Now, the general clientele, and I'm sure there are some guys that go on these tours that are just normal, cool guys, and they want to try something new. They have the capital to do it, and that's fine. But then, if you look at the movies, or there's another book that's excellent, it's called Odessa Brides by Sean Walker. I'll make sure I link that in the show notes as well. But these guys are not playboys, they're not players, and, they have zero game for the most part. Like, we're talking, these are the guys that work out in the oil fields in South Dakota, and they're basically just starved for any and all female interactions. And, like, the funniest thing is, in that movie, Love Me, there's this guy, and I think he actually was in North Dakota, and they walked into a bar in his hometown, and the bartender just, they're asking her questions for the documentary, and she just laughs and says, I think there's 5 single women in this whole town, and they're all 45 with kids and now divorced. And so, these are guys that really don't have much of a base. They have no options whatsoever in life. It may even be, it's not that they don't have game, it's that there's literally no one for them to even practice on, which is obviously a real problem, especially as you start getting up in age and you want to meet someone, find someone, then so be it. Those, your options become limited the older you get.
All right, so there you have it from a Ukraine expert and his take on this whole mail order bride industry and everything, and it's pretty accurate. So moving on, how the Love Me documentary hits the nail on the head and depicts all these guys getting scammed in Ukraine or just plain disappointed. So this is one of the victims from Wisconsin, and he tells all how he fell in love with this woman and was ultimately scammed by her and her sister and the police as well. They got the police involved. They wanted like I don't remember, like $2,000 or something like that, and he told them that he only had like $100 or $200. So they took that, and supposedly the woman, the mail order bride, was let go as they were gonna take her to jail. So this guy was really convinced at first. He left Ukraine, and he wasn't feeling it very much. Wasn't in love or really that excited about it. But after coming back home and actually reviewing the footage that they took of him and this woman he had met at the social, he felt all these emotions, he says, about this woman singing to him in Russian while they were dancing, and he thought that it was real, so he decided to go back, and that's where they got him. So there's always an element of emotion if you analyze it, you closely analyze the whole situation. There's a point where you get emotionally involved, and that's where these crooks prey on you, and where they have you as dinner. So arrange sham dates. That's one of the sham dates that they had with one of the other customers called Bobby, and he was corresponding with this woman, spending nearly $10,000 in correspondence alone. So that was outrageous from his part, because he should have stopped. He should have seen through the scheme, through all of this, and just assess his situation with this woman. Of course, you will see in the next screenshot where one of these translators is writing some things to him, and that's how they get the people invested, and that's how they convince us that they're real. They draw emotions, they draw feelings of love, passion, whatever they can use to get you to spend more on them. So I don't know why they brought in a fourth wheel, not just the third wheel, which is the translator, but also a fourth one, which didn't help him at all. I mean, he was just repeating everything he had already written in the letters before traveling to Ukraine, and this woman hadn't even seen most of the photos that he showed her on his smartphone. So it was all a sham, and she made him spend even more money on this dinner date where he proposed. Can you imagine just getting there and on the first meeting just proposing? But I mean, it sounds ridiculous. It got a lot of heat. This guy, this story of this guy got a lot of heat. Him as well, because they said, "Oh, how can you be so stupid? And how can you propose on the first date if you barely know this woman?" But in his mind, he already knew her for months or even years. I don't know how long exactly he corresponded with this woman. You can watch the documentary to find out, but he thought that they were already corresponding, as it happened to me with this other woman, Ekaterina from Ukraine.com. So what he did was immediately propose and take a ring with him and everything, gifts, whatnot. But in the end, it was all a hoax. The woman said yes, but after he got back to the States, the woman started changing again and didn't want to answer his questions, his tough questions and everything. So that's where he ended it, and nothing came out of it, this whole effort. So this other guy wasn't convinced about his experience in Ukraine, and how he was totally disappointed, both with Ukrainian women and Ukrainian people in general. So this is the other story from Eric, and he actually got married. He was successful, but only after 7 failed attempts, failed trips, and about 50 dates in Ukraine. Can you imagine that? I mean, unlike this guy, Bobby, this guy was determined to get someone from Ukraine, and he achieved it. But just imagine how much money you have to spend in correspondence, in trips, in paying the agency and everything. And not only the trip, he had to pay for the tour, the romance tour. So that's a lot of money. And this guy went through it all until he found someone that was willing to marry him, who accepted him. But in this case, I could say that Bobby was also in the wrong mentality. You can see it on the documentary where he is offered to meet other women, but he was convinced that this woman was in love with him as much as he was in love with her. But it was because of the PPL scheme, how they trick people into believing all this bullshit. So this is the email I was telling you about. The scammer was writing to Bobby, and there it says, I believe in happiness, and I think that you're very serious and good about you and your life. Maybe tell me about you and your life. Yes, to say the truth, I really want to know you. You can do it step by step. Am I right? So this is the type of bullshit they write. They're very interested, they're very enthusiastic. They want you to travel tomorrow to meet them, or they want to travel tomorrow to meet you in your own country. It's the biggest load of BS they can tell you on these websites. So moving on, meet the scammers. Well, this is the one that you think you're writing to. The one probably that a guy like Bobby is thinking he's writing to. But also you have the scammers here, or the ones animating the profiles, and also writing all the letters. These are the con artists. This woman is probably involved. She's also from a PPL site. I took her picture from Victoria Club, and although she may not be the one perpetrating the scam directly, she's collaborating with the scammers by giving them access to her photos and to videos and all types of material they need to prove you that she's real and that she's not a catfish, right? So this is AFA's owner, John Adams, when he was responding to scam allegations, and he said that he didn't know about this problem and that he went on to delete this woman's profile, and his conclusion was that the measure of the company is how it deals with the problems. But he's a liar. I mean, it's known that he's a master con artist, and his marriage agency is said to generate a revenue, or I don't know if it's revenue or profit, but it's about $80 million a year, which is huge. And also he has tours, as Kyle said, all over the world. He has romance tours in the Philippines, Colombia, Ukraine, I think Thailand as well, Peru, Costa Rica, and many others. Also, I had this experience with ladadate.com. One of the women scammed me. She was dating someone else while stating that she was single, and talking to me on the platform, corresponding, chatting, and everything. But once I got her contact, I found out that she was lying to me. She said that she was sick and in the hospital in the end of 2021. I'm sorry, in 2020, and she came up with all these fake stories about her having problems and everything. And in the end, because I had her real name, I was able to investigate her, and I found out her real identity. And she turned out to be a woman with a relationship. Maybe she was sugar dating, as they call it, with a sugar daddy, and this guy was giving her like very expensive gifts, taking her to the most expensive restaurants and everything. And it turned out that she was never in the hospital. She said this bullshit story that she had acute angina and that she was really sick. And I found out that she had really been to Dominican Republic. She hasn't. She wasn't even in Ukraine. She was in this vacation with this sugar daddy who was taking her there. Probably a Ukrainian man, but you could see all her trip there. You know, even taking photos in the bed, like the guy, tossed some petals, rose petals, on the bed, and she was drinking and toasting with this guy. So it was total sham. So after this, I was very disappointed, and I completely stopped communication with her because I was already writing to her on Gmail, but she never she didn't want to give me her phone number. So I just quit her, and after this bad experience, I kept looking at AFA's channels, the YouTube channels as well, and they had some footage of the socials and some interviews, maybe some talks with the staff from AFA. And while searching all the channels from AFA, I found this one called Ukraine Singles. This channel had the profile pic, or how you call it, the image of the channel was this woman that scammed me. So I let them know soon after I saw this. I got in touch with them to let them know that this woman was actually a scammer, and I saw that she was actually on their database even after she got deleted by Latadate. I reported her in Latadate. It's a very long story, but thing is that even after I reported this woman in Latadate, they still had her on the AFA website, loveme.com. When I reported this woman for being a scammer, they just turned a blind eye to my story, my testimony, and they're still promoting this woman. She's still on their website, and her picture is still seen on the YouTube, as their, she's the face of the scam, literally. So that's pretty much what AFA is. They don't care that if they have scammers. They don't care. They just care if they're beautiful, if they can draw in customers and all this. And it's very difficult to tell from the beginning just by looking at them. They're scammers, but once you know what they do, and once you pretty much deal with them, is when you'll learn what their real identity is, which is that of a scammer. And very ironic that this company also advises customers not to write any letters and just go meet these women. So here it says, guess you finally made some progress, huh, John? But I did this before. This slide was made before I got in touch with them to let them know about my scammer. So they haven't made any progress. You could save many of their customers a lot of money just to go there and look for themselves. But in the end, they're still promoting it. They still have this PPL scam scheme on their website, so there's no end to that. So companies like Ukraine.com downplay and criticize activities like AFA socials and parties and say that these are fake. Well, what other activities would be better according to you? Grand ball parties is your best suggestion? Well, it's the same thing, dumbass. So you can see here how they're partying and drinking alcohol and everything, loud music, but it's no different than what Ukraine.com promotes. Alright, so as you can see, this is Ukraine.com's social party, and you can see the same, pretty much the same thing, dim lights, party environment, and it says here that you can meet 100 beautiful Ukrainian women in one evening. Online evening with unlimited direct contacts for only 50 euros. So of course this is not true. You have to pay much more than that to have access to meeting these women in person. After you pay matchmaking package, as they call it, right? So here's my scammer. As you can see, she's one of the hosts, or she's the host there at the party. So this guy Berezniakov is actually milking the hell out of this woman. She must be making a lot of money as she's working 3 jobs there. Like she says that she's a personal assistant, that she's the host of the YouTube channel, and also the host of these events, parties that of course are not possible right now, but before this it's what she was doing. So I'll leave it at that for now, and I will catch you on part 3, as this video came up even longer than I was expecting. So we'll touch more interesting and very revealing topics on part 3. Even better, I have even better material to show you, and more proof of this scam agency's schemes and all the lies that they tell you. Okay, catch you later.